There are not enough campgrounds or hotels to accommodate all of those people, even if they could pay.
Well, that's the
So
point.
they're screwing themselves.
But that's the point. I think that there really is an organized effort to criminalize the impoverished and the homeless. Instead of helping people, you're going to criminalize it, and then you put them into the legal system, and then you have free labor. You can't park here.
And I was harassed in, which is only like an hour and a half, 2 hours south, and then which is right next to it. Same thing. Girl, they have to have been watching me. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like a network across the state. Like I don't know what they don't like about, I don't know, but they don't like me. I don't drink.
Well, they're cracking down on
cigarettes. Like,
but it's not about that.
And they're just like, so my friend, she was telling me, she just like, I have to leave Oregon. I'm driving south. And I'm like, well, don't come. And she's like, what, why not? That's where I'm headed. And I'm like, girl, you don't want to be here. They've shut down like multiple BLM camp spots. They've decimated it. They've left trees laying everywhere so that you can't go on the usual roads. And they're targeting people. They're like, doesn't even matter if you're in a Mercedes Sprinter van. Doesn't even matter at this point. Someone else was harassed. I watched it go down. It's just a whole show of events. So she's like, well, that just happened in Oregon. 4 of the 5 places she was going to camp got completely shut down for free camping. And so she didn't even have a backup plan. She was using the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup. And so she's like, I'm not even going to be here. I'm going to leave. And she was headed for, and that's why I'm like, girl, because they're shutting down the other popular BLM spots, it means that any BLM spots that are left are going to be overflowed.
Right.
And that means, these horrible people that come in, especially in the summertime, it's always the locals that make a problem. It's always the locals, and they make us look bad. They have their off-leash dogs. They have their OHV vehicles. They bring loud music. They leave trash. They poop and they pee all over everything. So we're being displaced.
Yep. Well, it's really interesting timing, too, because of the defunding of the national parks. I wonder if it's not like an organized, agreed-upon effort to where they're trying to take away the BLM land. And, I'm sure that some people would like to sell that land off and, profit off of it.
That's what they're doing. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're privatizing it.
It's all going to be privatized.
The West already rent out that land. They pay rent to the national forest.
Right.
Even though it's public land, we're allowed to camp there. This happened in Payson recently, where I was up there and they said it was too close to a water trough where the cows were coming and going.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a water trough at every campsite in this BLM area. Where am I supposed to go? Oh, well, you can go to the next one, just not this one.
Yeah, they're just
your argument is invalid at this point. It's completely invalid what you just said. So what's the real reason you don't want me here? Because the ranchers don't like us here? Because it's not the ranchers' land. It's public land.
Yeah. They're just trying to push everybody out. And this is, the video you made about how van life is going to change. I've seen this coming for a while because I came from Florida, where I already saw systemically, politically, legally how they're going to snuff out van life because they don't want people being independent of the system, and they don't want people living for free and no. That's what it all comes down to. They want everyone to either have a luxury recreational vehicle and pay to camp everywhere, or
they don't even
have a home or rent an apartment. But if you're doing luxury camping,
here's the thing: all these people are being forced into their vehicles, and they're shutting down all these BLM spots and dispersed camping areas.
Yeah.
There are not enough campgrounds or hotels to accommodate all of those people, even if they could pay.
Well, that's the point.
So they're screwing themselves.
But that's the point. I think that there really is an organized effort to criminalize the impoverished and the homeless. Instead of helping people, you're going to criminalize it, and then you put them into the legal system, and then you have free labor. I mean, I'm from the deep south.
Well, they're fining us. If they're not arresting us, they're fining us.
Yeah.
Fines.
Yep.
And then, they're forcing us into basically slavery at that point. Yeah, because if you can't pay the fines, then, and most of us work. There's so many of us van lifers and nomads that are full-time work. Either we're retired or we have some kind of income, even if it's a fixed income of disability, it doesn't matter. We are all making money
Yeah.
somehow. We have to pay. And these towns, especially these little towns that are like NIMBYs, you know, the not in my backyard.
Yeah.
They don't realize that, like, if they have a big camping culture there, they're losing thousands and thousands and thousands of campers who are spending their money in their town on tourism, on restaurants, on doctors, on dentists, on restaurants, at the grocery store, all these for supplies, gas, all of that, because they're not paying for the camping. They can afford to spend that money in town. But if you push us out of town and we can't camp anywhere near your town, we're not spending money there. So you're going to lose part of that economy anyway.
I don't think they care.
Their greed is like so overwhelming at this point that they don't realize that they're going to ruin it for themselves.
No, I mean, I don't think they care. Like the locals that are, you know, definitely more financially comfortable, maybe like an older boomer generation, like they're not even fully aware of the world that we currently live in. So they're just like, they don't understand it. They don't like it. They associate it with, you know, drugs and misbehaving and like, oh, if you live like this, you must have morally done something wrong, because older generations or more conservative generations, they tie your morality to like your financial income. So if you're poor, you're inherently a bad, disgusting, dirty person. Obviously, I'm making a big sweeping statement here, but like that's essentially at the end of the day what it comes down to.
Exactly. And if they can fine us for existing in a van, even in a public space where it's completely legal, they will find a way to find something wrong with it so that they can make money off of us.
I mean, that's what happened in St. Pete. St. Pete got really heated and really nasty. And like, I was at a public park during the day, like not even trying to camp. And it used to be like a hub for van lifers, and people would bring like all their cool builds and people would travel through, and there's like a volleyball court and fishing and kayaking, and like it's a huge sprawling place along the bay in St. Pete. And I remember a cop came up and was harassing me and like taking down our license plates. They were in the middle of the day, the cops were organized and told to take a list of all of the license plates of the van lifers or people that look like they live in their vehicles, and they were starting like an organized list of all of us. And like it was pretty, I mean, I've seen it get pretty nasty. Like, I'm glad I got out of there, but it sucks to hear that it's happening on the West Coast too.
So Flagstaff just implemented a new no overnight parking ban in the entire city.
Oh.
And that means that even if you have a permit, it's also a no camping ban. So that even if you have like a parking permit, if you pay for one from a friend that has a residency or whatever,
Yeah.
ticket on your vehicle, if you're sleeping inside, they're going to ticket you. And this means that they're going to harass you before the public places even close. So
Yep.
for this last instance, the park didn't close till 10. He kept telling me it closed till 9, and then he slipped up in the video and said 10. But then he was like, if I come back in a half hour, it was 8:30. This was the second time he harassed me. If I come back in a half hour, if you're still here, I'm going to arrest you. And I'm like,
Psycho.
yep. But I got it all on video. Like I caught him in a lie and everything. So I'm going to expose them. But you know, it's to the point where like now I'm scared to even be here because the public area was open and I had every right to be here. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing anything illegal. He tried to say to me, well, you're not using the park amenities. And I said, sir, that has nothing. I'm not required to use the park amenities while parking at a park.
How many regular people go to the park and like have lunch in there?
Walking around, we were throwing the ball, and we had watched a frisbee game for 20 minutes earlier that evening. So he was completely out of line. And then now I'm at the point like this was a great park for me. It had service. I was able to have some peace and quiet and also go take my dog out occasionally right there. Didn't have to go everywhere. And now I feel like I'm not welcome in that public space. And if I go back, I'm going to get harassed again. And if he harasses me, he could just pull it out of his tush. to
Yeah.
write a ticket and say that I'm camping,
Well,
even though
yeah, I
I'm
mean, there's no checks and balances. We all know
right.
that dealing with law
Yep.
enforcement. But I think everything you just said kind of lays out what it's really about. And it's not about community safety. It's not about anything other than they don't want the vans there visually, physically. They don't want it. They don't want a van life presence at all. And that's been made really clear because you were there during operating hours. He wasn't just like, hey, this closes at 10. We just can't have you there. Like they
Right.
want, and this is what they did in St. Pete. They were so aggressive when they first started implementing all this and all of the money talking in the community. So like they had to harass us and make us so stressed out and not wanting the whole point is to make you so uncomfortable and so afraid that you don't want to be there because point blank period, they just don't want us there. Like that's all it's about. Like it doesn't matter.
Well, it's because we're a mirror. They have been fed this like illusion of freedom. They think that they're free. And when people come in with actual freedom and it's in their face, it's a mirror that they don't want to look back into. They don't want to face something that makes them uncomfortable. It's because it's a truth. It's just like the TikTok thing that we always go into.
I don't even
And
know
it's
if
really
it's,
sad.
but with some of them, I don't even think it's that deep. Like some of these, especially in St. Pete, it was like very, very old, borderline senile, retired people. And
Mhm.
they said, they lived in condos across the street from the parking lot, and it was the parking lot, then it was the park, and then you could see the bay. And they said, we don't like seeing all of the vans and RVs parked in the parking lot. That's not your private waterfront property. You live in a condo association. So what does it matter if it's a van or an RV or a regular car? Like it's literally lead poisoning type Bunny. Like it's literally boomer lead poisoning. Like they're just no, it's really like crazy town. Like they just don't like it. Like they just don't like it. It's crazy. Like I don't think they even have they don't have the concept of like freedom versus whatever. Like, you know, they're retired, they have their money, they're not worried about their mortgage. They don't realize like it's not affecting them the same way it's affecting other people. So I really
Nope.
just think it's like they're just miserable and it's giving HOA vibes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Karen, HOA, the whole thing. I don't get my way, my perfect little world. Oh my God, it's not perfect for you, but I don't want to look at it. It's like they want to ignore the problem because it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think it's a certain level of control. Like I think depending on certain generations, so much of their life was dictated for them and they had to do everything line by line and please their parents. And like in their generation, it was very much like your outward appearance and having people like you and approve of you was your end goal. And nowadays, everyone just like does their own thing and is very like inward and like self-reflective. So I think for them, this is a way they can still have control because their kids are probably no contact with them. Like they don't have any friends. They sit inside and watch the news all day. So for them to have this control of going to a board meeting, being in charge of like the HOA, like they get off on, you know, coming down on
Yeah.
someone for having a different colored
It's
door.
a total jerk fest.
Yeah.
Yep. It really is.
And they know that like they're affluent and they have the money in the community, so the cops work for them. Like the cops aren't, we all know the cops aren't there to protect and serve. They're the foot soldiers of whoever's the most prominent in that community. We know how that
They
works.
protect the rich people and they serve businesses.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Yeah. The only thing they really serve is, you know, papers.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just how it goes systemically. So it sucks, but I guess that is really timely for what we're talking about today.
It sure is.
Which is stealth camping. And
Yep.
a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people say they do it. But are they really doing stealth camping? I'm not so sure.
I think some people think they are. I was just at a place the last 2 nights. I'm not going to say where I was because I don't want to A, blow up the spot, and B, blow up the spot. But it was at a place where you can pay for parking, but you're probably not supposed to be sleeping in your vehicle there. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a safe place to leave your vehicle overnight. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
If you're paying for it, and you have to because it's like a ticketed whole thing. So in the same parking lot, I woke up this morning and was like, seeing kitty corner from my van was another van, and they had their pop top open and they had a box of stuff outside the van, and they had all these like
No.
their awning was out, and I'm like, are you stupid?
Yes.
Oh my God. Like I wanted so bad to be like, what the are you doing? You know, like bang on their but like it's not gonna matter. Like they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do, and they're ruining it for us. Not that they're the ones ruining it. I don't want to shift the blame on the people who don't know how to be stealthy.
Yeah, but if you're in an area that's already a hot spot and cops are
Yeah.
starting to crack down and intimidate you, you definitely can't be like out in the open with like your awnings and everything and like
No, all the windows have to be blacked out. No lights on inside, not even a crack of light being able to escape. You need to be silent. You need to train your dogs to be silent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Well, if they can only access their bed by popping up that camper, then like they're not going to be able to sleep
get a different rig.
Well, a different
Start
rig or
avoiding
like
campers.
get
Yeah.
a different rig or like if you have a vehicle that like those pop up like the truck bed campers that pop up and stuff like that, you can't go somewhere in stealth. Like it's obvious what you're doing, you know?
It's so hard to like, I know you got your rig, you love it. I know the couple that we're going to interview soon for the
oh yeah, they have a pop-up
episode, Rangeless, they have a pop-up, but I know that they pay for camping. They go around and like they have, sometimes they do free camping, but it's at a place where it's known and it's legal and all that. Like they're very smart about it.
Yeah.
And I think that they've also done stealthy where they don't pop the top if they have
really?
And
that's good.
That's the thing. But it sucks that people like that are being blamed for the big problem. Yes, it's a problem, like, but it sucks that we have to be that stealthy. And it's because of those who are law enforcement. That's what it is. And then the Karens and the boomers and all the people who are house dudes.
I mean, it's a very you can't point a finger at just like one specific group. It's a really like confusing effort. So yes, you're always going to have people that, you know, don't have the best intentions or definitely shifty. I mean, we know some shifty, shady travelers for sure. Like I wouldn't want to park near them. I wouldn't want to park in the same camp spot as them. But and then you also have people that, you know, leave garbage. Maybe they're on substances. Like I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff at a Cracker Barrel here. Like this guy was completely blackout drunk. His vehicle had a bunch of like stuff in it, like filled to the brim. His dog wasn't taken care of, and he whipped his ding dong out and was peeing next to our van. And like and this was broad daylight, and he was drunk as Cooter Brown, as my grandma would say. So like, you know, that type of stuff, definitely don't do that. Thank you. But that's the type of stuff where one person does it, all of us. They're already the cities are already looking for a reason to not have this stuff. Like I feel like most of the cities now, you have a lot of blue cities where they're like, yeah, just let people do Fenty out on the street, whatever. And then you have the red states where it's like, we don't have a homeless problem. Yeah, because you literally tore down all of their stuff and like arrested them or like harassed them until they left the town, which also isn't a solution, by the way.
No, it's not. No, it's yeah. I mean, the bad behaving nomads and houseless people and van lifers and RVers absolutely part of the problem, but not the whole problem. Let's get into the actual episode. I want to welcome everyone. If you've ever parked your van on a quiet street and you're just praying no one knocks at 2 a.m. in the morning, like you're not alone. We are all dealing with that. It's getting worse. But we want to dive into that today about like the unspoken rules of stealth camping and some of the times we failed at it, and also the best tips we can offer you for staying under the radar. I do want to make this statement known that if you feel like you're being watched, you probably are. You're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. And you're not the problem. You have a right to take up space. You just happen to be visible in a world that likes its discomforts hidden, okay? But you have to be aware of that, and you have to kind of find the loophole within that world. So that means not popping your top, not leaving stuff outside, not hanging out outside your van with your camp chairs and your awning out, unless you're in a paid place or a designated free camping area. It's that simple.
I just want to start off by saying that my rig is definitely not stealth. Like when I consider stealth, I consider those box trucks or those work vans that legitimately look like a work van. They a lot of times they don't even have the AC units on them. They don't have all the camping gear hanging out of it. They normally will have like a divider between the front seat and back seat, and they'll have like those work vests in the front. With like, I've even seen people have some like clean like garbage that they put up in the front, so it looks like it's just like a work van that's been left for the night or whatever. I consider that real stealth. My van, you can absolutely tell we take it camping and live in it. It has an AC unit. It has one of those like Arcan or whatever you call it, big roof racks. We have stickers on the back that like are national park stickers. Like it's very obvious we live in it. So I never want to say that, oh, my van is fully stealth. Like by default, my actual rig isn't stealth, but there's stealth-like behaviors you can enact and be less of a sore thumb sticking out.
As van life becomes more prevalent, I think it's safe to just go under the assumption that you are not stealth, no matter how much you try to be. Unless I did see a guy on YouTube who had made a like completely ninja camper out of what looked like it was a trailer that looked like it was a bunch of pallet wood.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, he had a little door and like a whole little room set up inside, and it wasn't waterproof. It was very rudimentary, but like it was an emergency little thing, and he was trying to get away with at anywhere he could. And I think that's great. I think that that might be the way that we're going, but also don't push the boundaries, because if they hear you snoring in there or whatever, like, then they're going to be on to that people are really going super stealth. So like, please just don't even just if you're not allowed in a place, don't push the boundaries. Just don't push the boundaries. You have to assume that no matter what, you are not stealth. And at this point, as we reach it's over 3 million people now doing full-time nomadism, probably more.
Yeah, that's just the people that
it's the safest to assume that like people are aware that we're in there, and even if it's an empty minivan, people are still questioning, is someone living in that?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I feel like that's half of the job now of any type of security or law enforcement in the cities is I guarantee you it's like just check-ins. If there's a car, make sure nobody's sleeping in it. And I guess like from a humanitarian standpoint, it just makes me so disgusted that I live in a society like this where so many of us are doing this out of necessity, and like first thing community cares about is don't sleep in your car. Like, I don't want you sleeping here. Like, I don't want you, like, nope. Like every time the law enforcement has ever knocked on my door, I always ask, okay, where do you want me to go? Where can I go sleep? And a lot of the times they don't have an answer, or they're like really taken aback. And I'm like, yeah, like just where do you want me to go? Like, I can't afford housing here. Me and my husband both work. Like,
honestly, I don't ask them that anymore because it tells them I'm living in my van. I just say, I'm not camping. I have a hotel room. I'm just trying to get some work done in a nice quiet place so I can let my dog out instead of being cooped up in a hotel room.
Yeah.
That's what I tell them every time, because it makes me look like I'm a bougie. Because I've tried that before, and it works sometimes, but it started not working anymore. It worked when I started van life, like years ago when I was still in a smaller vehicle, in a hatchback. Like I would ask them, okay, where can I sleep? Do you know what's safe? And I would play dumb, right? But now if I do that, they're mean. They're immediately mean. They're like, you can't sleep here. It's against the law. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So it's basically against the law to be homeless now in a lot of places. And it is in Tennessee and in other states, they're starting to make it, I believe, a federal or a felony. Sorry. It's a felony to get caught like sleeping in your car, which is insane to me. Tennessee is really strict, and like the Smoky Mountains and like that whole area definitely wouldn't go boondocking and like sleeping in your vans out there. They're really strict.
It's a shame. It's a shame. They forget again that we spend money in their little towns and in their states and in their counties.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money. And the only reason that we can afford to spend that money is because they have places for us to camp at either reduced rates or low cost or free.
Yeah.
They're pushing us out.
I just don't
It's a
think they
problem.
see it that way. Like you're not, they look at you as like you're not a taxpayer, you don't work in this city, you don't like they even though you are contributing to the economy, they don't view it that way. But I heard that the reason why Tennessee and around the Smokies started cracking down on like vehicle dwellers is because there was people camping out there, basically like living out there all the time, and a really bad fire broke out. And it was so devastating that they were like, yeah, we're done with this, which is really crappy because, a fire can break out anywhere and people can be doing irresponsible things, whether they live in a vehicle or not. And I also don't know how much proof they have that like it was vehicle dwellers versus like, was it just people like with
Are
encampments
we
out
just being
there and like,
scapegoat? Yeah.
or was someone like doing something out there like with a math lab or something? Like the mountains are
Right.
crazy out here. Like there are definitely people doing crazy stuff out here. So like, I don't know. Oh my God, I didn't tell you. Oh my God. There was a freaking bomb squad on the Blue Ridge Parkway on Sunday.
Why?
Somebody had like some type of thing that may or may not have been a bomb at the Folk Arts Center, like in Asheville on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
I mean, why would anyone want to blow up that place? There's so many better places to blow up.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a government psyop. I just think that like any like public land, they're just trying to ruin it. But they're
Maybe
worried.
it was someone who was like mentally unstable and like went there.
Oh,
I have this.
wait. That's a good point, Bunny. So right next to the Folk Arts Center, right across the fence is the VA clinic. And they're taking away people's like VA stuff now.
Oh yeah, someone
So
was
it
mad.
was
Somebody was
probably
mad, and you know what? And rightly so. I've heard so many nightmares from veterans who have sat there and risked their life for this country.
for legal purposes, we are not supporting anyone making homemade bombs.
Yes, not supporting them at all.
But what I'm telling you is I think that the VA clinic might have been the place that they were trying to get to because they have security there, but you can hop the fence from the back of the Blue Ridge Parkway and get right to the Folk Arts Center. Because
It's crazy that they need security for the Veterans Affairs place because like that's where people go for healthcare. Like you really? Maybe that's a sign. Come on, you guys, if you're not figuring it out by that alone. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Whatever. I mean, we're getting off topic here, but I just thought that was interesting.
That is very. I'm glad
I used to go to the Folk Arts Center like all the time. Like at a different time, I could have been there when all of this was going on.
Right.
And Andrew's like, what if like the feds were there? And he's like, oh, dude, they would have searched our van and everything. Like,
oh yeah,
out.
You have a BOMB van. You know it. It's what was
the Green Machine.
The one the Oklahoma bomber.
Oh, okay, yeah, my van does kind of. Yeah, but my van is like tricked out. It's not like that, but yeah, I could see.
Well, let's get back on topic. First of all, let's talk about what stealth camping is. If you're new here and you're not a van lifer or you're not aspiring to be it and you're just listening along, thanks for coming in. But let's tell you what stealth van lifing is. Basically just being in a vehicle and sleeping in it. And usually you're on either public property or sometimes private, sometimes it's a business, sometimes you're on the side of the street, sometimes you're at a truck stop. Some places allow overnight sleeping and that's fine. Some places it's on the fence. Like there's not really a posted sign, but there's also it's a private business, so like you're pushing it, you know what I mean? So stealth is trying to go under the radar, not being noticed, and sleeping in your vehicle. It's just trying to be in the ninja zone. We are going to get into some tips on how to do that. You don't want to draw attention to yourself. People stealth in van life because they have to come into the city, whether they have an early appointment or they need service or they're running errands and they didn't get it all done. Or they're really tired for the night. The closest BLM land is an hour or more away and they don't have good sight at night. They don't want to drive out there at night. Sometimes it's a storm and the safest place to be is in the city, like tornadoes and hurricanes and floods, which is going on right now in all of Arizona. And it happened last year with Kyla in North Carolina. But you do want to stay. It's also an affordability thing. People don't want to sometimes they just can't afford to pay a $50 fee for a campground
Well,
every night.
if you're
Who
doing
can?
van life full time, do the math. Even if the campground is like $20 a night, times that by 30 days or however long the month is, like at that point, you're like already back to paying rent again, or you're on your way to. Like the whole
Yeah,
point for a lot of us is to do this as affordable as possible. So, yeah,
definitely is
I'm not
affordability.
I pay for campsites maybe like twice a month if I want to like do camping and like have that out in the open experience and take out my awning, but that's not what I'm doing every night.
No, no, and same. Like I definitely go to BLM areas and enjoy the outdoors and put out my tarp and have my chair and my table out. But it's only when I know I can be there and it's legal for me to be there, and I'm within that time of allowing the allowed time to be there.
Mhm.
Um, Also, some people do the city camping, the stealth camping, because it's a safety thing. They're afraid of the woods. There's bears, there's moose, there's whatever it
I'd
is.
be more afraid of the city. I've seen crazier stuff in the city.
Yeah, yeah, me
Well,
too. But there's
a
also
lot of
crazy people out in the woods too. So yeah. Anyway,
yeah, and I'm one of them. A lot of us do like urban van life or urban. You're gonna hear me probably say urban camping a lot because that goes hand in hand with stealth because that's normally when you need to do it. But a lot of us do that because we have work in the city, or a lot of us aren't fully nomadic. A lot of us, if you're listening, you might be living in your vehicle because you're like, yeah, I couldn't afford rent anymore. I still have my regular work, but I'm living out of my vehicle, which is how I started. And it's like, yeah, I can't drive 2 hours out into the desert or the woods every night and then like drive back. Because I've had that suggestion a lot when we were having trouble finding places to park. And they're like, why don't you just like go up into the mountains? And I'm like, well, first of all, gas, wear and tear on my vehicle, like heavy mileage on my older vehicle, which I'm not trying to do. And then, like you said, like driving through there at night or early morning can get like really intense up in the mountains here. Like
the
there's
deer
no
will
light.
jump out
Yeah.
if you're driving around at night. Like you could hit a coyote. There's all kinds of things that happen,
Yeah.
especially if the weather's crazy.
Yeah. It's not a chill, easy thing to do. Like when you're going up and down the mountains here, very narrow, very windy, and there's no lights, there's no guardrails, and we have a giant old van. So like it's not like a thing I want to do every single day as a commute to work.
Kyla, when you started van life, the term, you were in a Honda Pilot, and
Yeah.
you opted out of housing because it was just going to be too much money, and you and Andrew both had work and jobs in the area. So you did this stealth thing, but like, do you remember your very first night?
I don't know if I remember the very beginning as much as Andrew did. I think it was like harder for him, but I definitely remember some like scary times. Like, so first of all, sleeping in our Honda Pilot was more stealth than this van because it's a van, it's built out, it has an AC unit, it has a 30 amp hookup. Like, you can tell this van was built out to live in, at the very least, camp in. So when we were in our Honda Pilot, I had window covers. Like, we would park at this 24-hour boat ramp, right? So the boat ramp was right outside of the community we used to live in. Like, you would go over this bridge to the island that we lived on. So we were back on the mainland, and it was kind of in like a sketchy area that was becoming gentrified. So nobody was really calling or complaining. So it was a bit of a sketchy area. So like, we would see like drug deals going on in the parking lot. There would be kids like drunk, like doing donuts, and they've almost like drifted into our Honda Pilot, which was super scary. Just I would see really crazy stuff, like really weird, suspicious stuff happening at the boat ramp. Like, it was kind of crazy, the stuff I saw. But we were fine there because, like, it was a 24-hour boat ramp, so people would leave their vehicles there, and they could be boating with a friend, or they could be kayaking, like nobody cared. Now, when we got the big van and started camping there, for a couple months we were good. We would even like the front of our van would be facing the road, and then we would have our generator outside around the back, and we would have it chained up so it wouldn't get stolen. And we would run our generator so we could run the AC. And nobody said anything for the longest time. And then one late night, the cops knocked on our door and they're like, yeah, you guys can't like be here anymore. And we would always leave in the daytime. So like we were never like Andrew and I had work, so we would get there late at night when it was already dark. We would leave early in the morning. But you know, people
And this is
complained.
Florida. Everyone remember, this is Florida. Like, I know everybody's like anti-generator at night. We get that. But like living in a van in Florida is a whole nother ballgame. This is a whole nother level.
Well, also nobody else was out there. It was a boat ramp with like a really like long windy parking lot around the grass and the mangroves, and then it was the boat ramp in the water. Like people weren't there like picnicking or hanging out. Like there wasn't a bunch of other vehicles there. Like when we parked there, we were there for months at nighttime, and there would maybe be 3 or 4 other vehicles at night, like way farther away from us. Like it like never run your generator to Cracker Barrel. Like you've heard us talk about this before.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I was like, let's park next to all these people and run our generator and like give everyone carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, I think one of the reasons why we got called on is because another really jankety RV showed up, and they were there all the time, wouldn't leave. They were taking up like a trailer spot. They would have their generator running all the time. They would have their camping chairs set up. And like, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about where
Far too visible.
We literally would show up at night, sleep, pack our stuff up, and leave. And when other people started coming there and acting up and acting like it was a free campground and they were there during the day just hanging out, even on the weekends. Now, on the weekends, it was busy there. We wouldn't park there on the weekends because that place would fill up because everyone's launching their boats. Like, it was like a bayou that led to Tampa Bay. So, common sense, but it would be a busy boat day. Now, if you're some rich guy that has your nice boat and you're ready to launch it and this crappy RV is taking up a boat trailer spot, obviously you're going to be pissed. Obviously you're going to call the cops. And who are the cops going to listen to and care about? And honestly, at that point, I don't blame them because it's like, bro, this isn't an RV spot. This is for boat trailers. And it's a Saturday in Florida. Everyone's boating. So I think that's what really did it in.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that kind of behavior everywhere. I've seen it at Cracker Barrels. Cracker Barrels are now stopping that. Not all of them, but so many out west are like, yeah, we don't allow overnight parking. And even if they say they do, you still get harassed by police. That happened in Phoenix recently.
Yep.
Yeah, it's no joke. Should we get right into the top tips for staying undetected?
Yeah. Let's do it. Go.
Okay. Our first one is keep your exterior low key. We've talked about this, but you don't like if you can hide the solar as much as you can, like in the center of your roof, or just not have like extravagant wires hanging around. Listen, I get it. We need our power. But if you can hide it or just keep it as stealth as possible, low profile, they do have some products out. I'll try to link them in the caption. That are now low profile, really, it's not the flexible solar panels, but I mean the mounts themselves are super low profile. So it just looks like the top of the van. You can't even tell it's a solar panel, especially if you're putting the gland and the wires through the gland underneath it or off to the side in the middle of the roof. Nobody will see it. None the wiser.
Yeah.
I will put those in the comments because I can't remember what the name of those products are. But no, like if you have awnings, don't put them out. If you have a generator, try to put it away, put it in storage, put it in the inside under your bed. I know it's going to stink. Chain it up if you have to leave it outside, but cover it with something so it doesn't look like you're in there, and you're living in it. Even your windows. I know it's hard in the summer. Even leaving your windows open a crack, it's a huge giveaway sign. I'm very blessed with this fan. I have a vent. The vent always stays open at night if it's hot and muggy, and then I have a fan that's pretty quiet. You can do that. Leave your vents on. That's fine.
Get your windows tinted and get rain guards, because if you have rain guards, mine are like maybe 2 or 3 inches, and you can crack them to where nobody can see that they're cracked. Also, it like keeps the rain out and stuff, but you can still get airflow. But something to consider, even when you're if you're worried about doing your build and you're like, oh, like I really want this feature, but I don't know if it's going to be stealth. I predict in the future, because this happened in Florida, in St. Pete, they were trying to regulate vehicles with rooftop ACs or air vents can't park here for more than this many hours, blah, blah, blah. And they got so much backlash. Yeah, like the city, St. Pete was trying to like make this an ordinance. And so many blue collar guys were like, I have a roof vent on my work trailer because when I'm building your houses and renovating your houses, like I will die in my work trailer cutting this board or whatever. Like,
and there's delivery vans that are delivering cakes and baked goods. They need to be cooled,
so
all that.
it got thrown out, but that's how crazy people are starting to think now. We're like, they're gonna try and regulate. Oh, if your vehicle has solar panels, it can't be here and it can't do.
They're assuming. They're making the assumption.
Well, they're trying to get away with like criminalizing this lifestyle at some degree. So,
and they are. It's really scary.
So I would just say
my video that's just gone out is doing really well.
Good.
It's called the 10 alarming reasons to like how van life is changing and stuff. You'll find it on my channel, Bunny and Beyond Van Life. But it goes through those different things. These are things you probably should go watch. I know it's self-promoting, but I want to tell you guys so that you're aware. If you want to get into van life, you still have time left. Just be aware of what these changes are going through, because what you see from these bougie, you're not seeing the reality of it. They show up to a campsite, they show their tour, they have a drone shot, they have a model with long wispy hair and her big fat hat in heels walking around showing you it's not real. They have a house. They're doing this as a weekend warrior or even just a couple hours for a photo shoot, guys. Don't believe that hype. It's not real. Just know that. Just be aware and be prepared. That's all. What are some other like things to stay really stealth? Block out your windows. If you can't get your windows tinted, first of all, don't get the cheap tint because that's a giveaway too. It makes your car look janky. I hate to say it. Go get it professionally.
When it's all like bubbling and stuff.
Oh yeah. And the stuff you get at Walmart, I don't care how good
the car is. Is it that expensive? I feel like it's not that expensive to get your windows tinted, is it?
I don't know. I know that professionally it's going to be more expensive, but y'all, it's worth it because
like, but like how much is it? Like a couple $100s or something?
I don't know.
It's not like you're getting a car wrapped. I don't think it's that expensive.
I don't know, but if you can't, hold on, let me do this without knocking this down. If you cannot tint your windows, we have these. This is foam. It's it's polyisofoam. And this is an inch thick polyisofoam. And then I covered it with fabric. It's black on one side. This is actually duct tape. And the inside is just my pretty fabric that I like with mushrooms and skulls on it.
It's really cute.
But I have this tab because it's a little bit shorter, right? This is just a duct tape tab and it will clear any light leaks. It just pushes right into the recess of the window. Not only does it keep people from looking in your window, but it looks like your windows are just really dark tinted, unless they're like shining a flashlight in it, then they can tell. But this also insulates sound, aside from keeping you cooler, aside from leaving the passive solar in. But these are important to have. If you don't have these, the next best thing is curtains or the Reflectix. This curtain, it's a pretty thick curtain, but on the other side, it's got blackout. So it's super thick and it doesn't really do much for sound, but it makes it look.
At least people can't see in.
Right. And you can push it around enough that like it really won't leak much light. These, I'm really lucky because most of these windows, I bought the van and they were already pretty dark tinted, but they're not like limo tint. So if you can be careful about that too, because in some states it's illegal to tint your windows.
Yeah, there's different levels of it, but I never got, Florida will pop you, but I never got in trouble because I guess they consider my vehicle more like a camper or RV, so all of the back windows can be completely blacked out, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's really weird. From city to city, from state to state, there's different regulations. So I guess if you really have your heart set on a specific location, start looking into the regulations and city ordinances now, because that could really dictate how you want your van to look, how you want your van built out. Because some places your van might be the perfect rig, and then other places you're just going to get harassed. And that's really something to think about if you're starting a build or if you're thinking about traveling somewhere. I'm telling you right
That's
now.
a really good insight on how to stay stealth too, is before you get to a location, make sure you know the laws, because I made that huge mistake just now. Listen, all last summer, I was in between, I was moving around camp spots. There's two national forests near Flagstaff, Kaibab and Coconino. And if you go back and forth within a 30-day period, you're allowed 14 days. So if you go back and forth, you pretty much have like 30 days in two different places. And then you can do some stealthing in town, and like you can make that work for the whole summer. And that was great. But now I can't stay in town unless, this one little stealth spot I have. But there's another thing you can do, and I want to get back to that, but I just want to hint at it now. There's Facebook groups and there's other apps that you can look up that will help you get paid parking, but at a much bigger reduced rate than a campground if you need to stay in town for work or something. So we'll come back to that later because it's not really on topic, but it is a great alternative. And I've only just learned about it. What are some other things to stay stealth? Don't show up until it's after dark for your nighttime camp spot. I would wait until it's after dark and as soon as you can in the morning, leave. It might not be at sunrise exactly, but before people start getting out of their houses and waking up for the day, leave. That means if you're staying in a hotel lot, if you're staying somewhere else, like even on the side of the road in a neighborhood, as soon as they start noticing you, it's over, game over. You have to train your dog to be quiet. You have to. I know that but train it so it growls first instead of like going right into barking at people, because they can still be taught to be alert for you and then to scare certain kinds of people off if you want them to. But you really have to train them to just stop and go slow with that reaction. It's not easy. But they will give you away. They will give you away. And that is not the safest way to be stealth. What are some other tips?
Honestly, not staying in the same place all the time. The number one thing that I've noticed in my experience with van life between even Florida and North Carolina is people that stay in the same parking lot all the time, every single night. Like, you need to have, if you're not just traveling through, if you're in one singular location, you need to have a few different spots. And yes, some of them might be a farther commute to work or wherever your hub is that you need to be, but you need to have at least 3 or 4 different places you can go to throughout the week, because you never know what's going to go on at your spot. If that's the only spot you have, like, the cops could show up for something completely irrelevant to you. There could be construction. Like, you just never know. But as soon as neighbors, people that work near that area, people that have the same commute every day, for whatever reason, other people want to be up in your business. So if they see the same RV, the same van, the same vehicle parked in that same place every single day, they will call the cops. Like, it's going to bother them. But also, if you slept there, don't stay there the whole day. Like, you need to wake up, leave, go do something else, because you're going to get popped. Like, we know
it's a pain to do that too. We get it. It's not fun, but it's one of the sacrifices you make in this lifestyle. And I know some of us are forced into it. I can't go back to renting. I'm there with you, but you have to understand that if you want to sustain this lifestyle, if you want to survive this lifestyle without harassment, you're going to have to find a way to lay under the radar and just not make a scene and not be noticed. And that means you'll have to get up early. You're going to have to move around. You're going to have to find your spots. And like, the worst thing you can do for yourself is make habits. Like habits, like of where you're sleeping and like continuous patterns, because that's how they notice you.
Yep. I mean, I will say I'm really lucky where I'm at currently. Yes, I have seen like certain areas crack down on no parking, but honestly, those places were getting really dangerous and I didn't even feel safe doing that. So I understand why they said no more parking there, because I saw some crazy stuff there myself. But where I'm at currently is really, really chill. There's definitely like parking lots and shopping centers where they don't care if people spend the night there. You just can't be hanging out there all day.
Yep. Yep. That means like no cooking too. If you're making smells that aren't in that area, like if you're cooking burgers inside the van or making a stir fry and people are like, where's that coming from? And they notice you have a window and like, it's even that kind of stuff. You have to be, even if you're smoking, people are going to smell your cigarette smoke. Don't partake in the broccoli. Don't do that unless it's an edible, girl, because that will give you away. And whether it's a state that's legal or not, it will draw attention to you, especially by the people who are like, those kind of people.
Yeah, I think that would just be a smart common sense. Like, don't do stuff that is considered definitely illegal when you're trying to stealth or park somewhere you're not necessarily supposed to be parked. Like, if you're like having open containers and you're like toking it up, like you're just asking, hey, come arrest me, come search my van, come, like,
seriously, the whole sobriety and van life thing is a whole thing, because no matter what, you live in your van, you're in your van, you have your keys available to you, and they will use that against you, even if you're kicking it with a hard cider. Doesn't matter.
oh,
Doesn't
well,
matter.
yeah, I
You
mean,
have an
even though
open
it's
wine
your,
bottle in your van.
yeah, if it's your house, if you're parked in a regular parking lot, you're not like stationary, like camping somewhere, which even most campsites, you're not allowed to have alcohol there. But like if you're stationary in a public parking lot and you have your keys on you and you're in the vehicle, they don't consider, the laws aren't different for you. Like it is considered a vehicle and you're intoxicated in that vehicle. You can't drink and drive.
You might be able to fight it in court, but it's going to cost you so much to fight it. It's not going to be worth it, bro.
I don't
And
know.
you probably won't win.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
That's
probably
because
won't
where
win.
are you allowed to have an open container of alcohol in a public parking lot and drink it?
Exactly.
Like,
Not even a bar unless you're in the patio area.
yeah, like you can't be in a vehicle with an open container.
Right.
I don't know.
That being said, there are some people that I've noticed that are online and like freely talking about this, where they like spend the night in a bar, like at a parking lot of a bar, and they're drunk. And like some people go there under the guise of being too drunk to drive away, and they're like, officer, would you like me to just stay here, or do you want me to get in trouble because I thought I was doing the right thing? Even that can get you in trouble. Even if you're not drunk and you use that as an excuse to an officer. I have recently heard of a story where they got in trouble. They got breathalyzed. They had to walk the line. They had to say the alphabet. And thank God they passed the sobriety test. But we all know cops are crooked. And if they want you to look drunk, you ain't passing.
Well, first of all, my aunt's an attorney, and she has gotten my POS uncle out of DUI so many times. Never take a field sobriety test. Yes, you're going to have to go sit in the drunk tank. Never take a field sobriety test because they're so inaccurate. There's such BS, and like, just never take a field sobriety test. Any attorney will tell you never take a field sobriety test. Just say, yep, take me away. Take me. Never breathe for them. Never walk the line. Never do it, bro. Never do it. Anyways, that's a whole different story. But that is super dumb to me. Whoever's idea that is so dumb to deliberately go to a bar and try and like feign that you're like sleeping off being drunk. Like, first of all, I don't want an actual drunk person to back into my van. There's that. I don't want to be in a parking lot where there's a bunch of people that have been drinking and they're going to like drive into my van or do something. Or there's like,
they're not going to close till, the earliest 10 or 11. So you're going to be there with loud noise and crap until probably 2 or 3.
I think that's a bad idea.
One of those people that I was watching that story about, they had magnets on their van posing as like a plumber or hardware or whatever. And some people might be able to get away with it. I'm going to tell you right now, you can do that, but no, it's called like impersonation of a business or something along those lines. And if they catch you in it, it's great if you get away with parking at like a construction area or something with that on your van, and your van has a roof rack and ladders and, and you put like a safety vest over the front seat and a hard hat on the dash. Cool. But if they catch you and they hear you snoring in there, or they hear something and they knock on your door and you have to answer, you're also going to get an additional ticket for impersonating a business. So
Maybe
again,
just don't have the signage.
it's not, they fly off when you're driving anyway. So if you forget it, you could hurt somebody.
Well, I've seen 2 people around here that are like haphazard rando handymen, so they do have their van like painted on there or like
sure, it's
signage
a
on there.
real thing.
So
Go
like
ahead.
they do actually do handiwork, but it's obvious that they live in their van.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
whatever.
I mean, if you have like if it really is a thing, then you can get away with it. But like, if you're impersonating, they're gonna know right away, and like
Yeah.
they're anything they can do to slap another fine on you.
Yeah.
I know this isn't fair, and it sucks, but this is van life as we know it now, and you guys all know about it. Then try to like think you're clever than everyone else because it's been done.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this last week, it's been getting busier here with van lifers and stuff, like especially at the gym parking lot, right? And our gym is 24-hour access, and like they don't care if people sleep there. You just like can't be there during the daytime, whatever. But like the cops still roll through there, like regular people still work out there. You're not supposed to like be camping out, hanging out. Like you get there and then like go and get your shower if you need, and then like go to bed or leave, like do whatever you're doing and leave. So this lady has her van there. She takes the very first parking spot. Here's a list of everything not to do. So take out your pens and papers, because from beginning to end, this lady did everything wrong. First off, she takes the very first parking spot closest to the front door of the gym with her van. Her van is jankety. She has signs on it that say beware of dogs. She has like this like little cart on the back that like has a bunch of crap. So like it's obvious someone's living there. And it
I
looks
have
like crap.
those signs on my van. I bought the van with
Wait
2 beware of dog signs.
till you
I tried
hear.
to get them off. They don't come off.
Wait till you hear. Wait till you.
Okay.
This will be important for later on in the story, by the way.
Okay.
So first of all, whenever you're going to a parking lot, and especially if it's like an active parking lot, take a spot in the very back, like away from it. Like you don't want to make yourself known. So like you don't want to be like somewhere really weird, I guess, where like the cops are like, what are those people doing? But you also don't want your giant van with all of your crap everywhere, like at the very front near the establishment.
Blend in. Yeah.
Blend in. Yeah. So like, what me and Andrew won't park like somewhere super obscure where the cops are like, hey, what are you doing over here? But we're also not like, hey, I'm going to park my giant van right in front of your business. Hi, everybody. Like, just have some type of middle ground. Then she gets her headlamp. Okay. She gets her headlamp on.
No, not the headlamp.
She has her giant, it's a gorgeous dog. She has her giant husky type thing off leash. She's walking it all around the parking lot. She's walking it up at the shopping center, like the shopping center walkway in the front of the nail salon, everywhere. She walked, Gunner starts freaking out. So, we like put our windows up, whatever, so he doesn't like I have windows you pop out on the side, and like he'll bash them open if he's upset. So like we had to like close our windows, whatever.
Thunder.
So, well, you know how he is. And which he's a quiet dog, by the way. Speaking of barking, he's not a barker, but if people are right next to our van, then we're done. So this lady starts walking around our van. Andrew's sitting in the front seat because we were like there to get showers. So we're like getting our stuff together, and like it's not like in the middle of the night. So like whatever, there's no harm, no foul. We didn't have like our window visor up yet, but also we were like, what the F is this lady doing? So she walks up to our van, can hear our dog barking and freaking out. She stands in front of our van and is just like waving at us with her headlamp and her dog off leash. And like I literally look at her like, get the F away from me. Andrew looks at her like, are you crazy? And she's like, hi, it's just me with my headlamp walking around.
Oh my god! First of all, that's so rude because you're putting light on in someone else's van. You're bringing attention to them. You're obviously bringing attention to yourself. I'm sorry, you're an idiot.
Yeah, she's insane. And the dog was off leash, like in a busy parking lot.
Not cool.
Cool. And I'm like, what? But also back to, so you have a beware of dog sign, but then you have said dog off leash running around a parking lot. where people are like going to the gym, getting their nails done, like there's other businesses there, like
So bad. So awful. Don't ever do
psycho.
that. It's just general rule unless you're like even at a park. I just posted a video about this where I was targeted at a park, even though there were plenty of other dogs running
Oh,
around.
yeah.
Video, I show them all running around off leash with their owners. Some of them weren't even with their owners.
Oh, that's
And one
crazy.
little sign they had, the little sign was like this big, and it was at knee level behind where all the cars parked. And I'm like, that's not even where the dogs are going.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fine to be off leash. It's a fenced in area. It made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else was doing it. And not that it made sense because everyone else was doing it. It's just fenced in yard, public park, no signs anywhere else. I'm like, cool. We're playing ball, and they picked me
Well,
out
look,
of everyone.
it doesn't bother me when people have their dogs off leash if they're in an area, if they're under control, if they're in an area that like not everybody else is in. But we're talking about a busy parking lot at night, so why would you even want your dog off leash?
Exactly.
Like,
no, I wouldn't even do that. Sparrow is incredibly trained. Like and it's because he's a German Shepherd. It's not because of me. Partly me, but mostly him. He heals by my side. Off leash, on leash, I have to tell him to do it, and it's a constant reminder thing. Like I usually have to snap my fingers, but when he's healing, he knows what he's supposed to do. I still wouldn't have him in the city doing that. No way, because like you see a squirrel or a lizard, you're gonna dart out into the traffic. What if it was
there's a dumpster
dog and like came and attacked him? Like,
well,
at least
dude,
I can whoop them, you know?
Near where she was parked was a dumpster for the businesses, and the bears are really bad here, especially now that it's warming up.
That's
so like
another,
it's
don't park
super
in front of a dumpster. If it says no parking, like first of all, it's gonna stink all night.
Ew.
And B, sure enough, the people who work there who are bringing out the garbage are definitely going to notice you.
Oh yeah.
If you block the dump truck, forget the beeping, you might get towed.
Oh yeah, you'll get in big trouble. But yeah, so that was super interesting. There's another guy that, and like I understand, like, okay, so both of that woman was older, okay, and so like I don't know if she's just like trying to be friendly and make friends, but a gym parking lot when we're in the city, gym parking lot city. I'm not your friend. I'm not. This isn't. I didn't know. I'm just trying to get a shower.
Oh, that's another thing, y'all. If you want to be stealth, listen. We're not here to make friends with every goddamn van lifer, okay? No. Especially if you're a noob. I'm here to teach you on the social platform. Like, I love doing that. But, bro, don't think that you're going to come up to my van and ruin my stealth because you want to be friendly. No. Absolutely not. If you see my van in public and you dare approach it, we gonna have beef.
Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place, like, you know, when we're getting in and out of the van or if we're grocery shopping, people will say, oh my God, I love that van. And like people, oh, are you guys just camping, whatever? Like, and it's more like conversational with my husband. Like, it's more of like, people are really friendly in the South too. Like, people are really friendly in North Carolina.
But also we're doing stuff and we don't have time for conversation.
Well,
like, I know
yeah, but here, but here, people will like think there's something wrong with you. You have to be friendly back. Like so many people, if you're coming to the Carolinas, like if you're just trying to like check out and buy something, they're gonna like have a conversation with you. And if you're really short with them and in a hurry, like they're gonna think you're rude. So you do have to blend in a little bit. And like if I'm not in a hurry, I don't mind having a conversation, but dude, the day that we got our EcoFlow stolen at the park, we went to the gym and we're so pissed. And this like older guy that like he has a van and then tows this like trailer behind it. He walks up to our van because Andrew was sitting in the front seat with the window cracked, and he starts talking to Andrew. And like we were not in the mood to talk. And he's like, I get it. Like he's this sweet little old man, and he's like, oh, do you want something to drink? And like, oh, like, you know
how I feel about old men coming up to my van. Well, I'm not being nice. I don't care.
He was talking to Andrew, so I wasn't involved in this. He didn't even see me. I was in the back, but I was like, bro, Andrew does not want to talk right now. And like, it was still a little bit annoying, but like he was he was just being nice. And then like, he was like, oh, you can get this membership at Panera for like as many coffees as you want for like $10 a month or something. But like, just like being sweet and old, and he's probably lonely and like he's retired, so he's just traveling around. Like, he doesn't comprehend that like this is our daily life and I am tired and I don't want to talk to you. Like, this is me getting off of work and like I'm not doing this for fun.
Right. How do you handle that? I know this is off topic, but like I'm immediately I don't game.
It depends. When I'm with Andrew, I'm a little bit more lax and like I just let him deal with it. And Andrew's really good at like
He's really good at that, isn't
he's
he?
really good at just like not being rude, but like he's very short and intimidating. So like when he doesn't want to talk, everyone's just like, oh, that guy's weird. And I'm like, yeah. And then when I'm by myself, it depends on my mood and it depends on the situation. Sometimes I'll entertain people and like I'll just like shoot with them if I'm like at a park or I'm not busy. But if I'm in the middle of doing something, I don't make eye contact. I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know. And like I'll just be like, hey, like I'm sorry. Like I'm in the middle of like doing this thing. Like I totally get it. Like I'm sorry. I'm like kind of being a cheer, but like I can't talk right now. Like I'm just straight up with people. Like when I'm doing something.
I get that a lot. People come, especially like, oh my God, if it's a park and my door's open because it's hot or something.
Yeah.
People will come right up, all stick their head in, and I'm like, absolutely not. I have to be rude.
Yeah.
And like if I'm outside and like they say something, it's different. I feel like it's not as invasive, but most of the time I ignore them and then they get mad at me.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a and I'm like,
Well,
you stop assuming that I am under obligation to be your friend and give you a tour.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because I'm not.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, like you wouldn't go up to any other vehicle and expect that from someone. You would never put your face in another vehicle, even in a truck.
Yeah, it's kind
Like
of weird. It's kind of weird that with like van life, people
It's because
feel
of the social media
emboldened.
stuff.
Yeah, because we're so welcoming online. Yeah, social media and parasocial relationships have like mentally damaged a lot of people. So
Oh my
yeah,
God. Yeah, there are a lot of modern challenges. There's a lot of new anti-vehicle dwelling laws. We did talk about that. There's people that just are tired of seeing vans. It's really it's hard, guys, right now. And I'm telling you, like, I don't see it getting any better. There's two ways that this could go. Okay. And I've actually done the research on this and looking at the patterns. Either the van lifers and nomads and RVers all come together and start changing the laws. But under our current administration, I highly doubt that. I've been in activism before, and I'm sorry to say we have no power because we don't have the money. There's people that have more power and more money than us, and they don't like us because we're not making them money, okay? And the other way that it's going to go is just that. It's not going to go. Like, we're not going to be able to change the laws. We're not going to have a say. We might be able to keep this lifestyle alive if we have community lands that we can migrate to and keep each other alive with. It's still going to cost money to do that. So, but a lot less than if we were paying rent and campground fees and all that and getting fined in cities. So I think that that's the really the best successful way I could see this life going.
well, yeah, I see the pipeline of like homeless or can't afford traditional housing to van life, and then I see a lot of van lifers going to homesteading. So
Absolutely.
like and like when I talk to a lot of other van lifers, that's their end goal. My end goal is to get land. I don't want to do van life forever. Like it's not that I'm like miserable and I hate it, but I don't think it's sustainable. Like I fully agree with Bunny on this. Like I think
My
she's a canary in a
cortisol
coal
is
mine.
through the I can't do it, guys. I'm actively looking for land. I have been for 2 years now. I don't think the West is where it's going to be the best place to do it just because it's so expensive out here. I'm actively looking for land.
Y'all's
I just hit a
taxes
point
out there
after that
crazy.
cop thing that I was just like, the next day I had a $1,200 van repair job. That I'm cool with. I get when that happens because this is my home. I'm not paying rent. I'm not paying crazy insurance. I'm not making a landlord rich. Like I'm willing to put that money in. But like when I get harassed and I'm not doing anything wrong and I'm working extra hard at being a legal citizen and I do everything effing right that I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I still get harassed.
Well, I mean, it's discrimination and it's classism. We know what it is.
I can't do it. I know that's what they want. They want us to back down, so we don't. So we're not a mirror of actual freedom. They don't want people seeing what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, If you're not contributing to society in the traditional appropriate ways, then, you know, we can't have anyone being independent.
Should talk about a little bit about the surveillance law. There's all kinds of like Flagstaff does have license plate scanners now. The National Forest, I honestly wonder if that National Forest defunding thing was just a psyop to get us to talk about it and make a big stink about it, because I've seen them all having brand new vehicles this year, brand new vehicles, Kyla, and all this equipment, and I see them flying drones, and I walk into their offices and it's a state-of-the-art facility, and I'm like, what the F is going on here? Where did you guys get the money for this billion-dollar facility?
Interesting.
So they're not even like, usually the government vehicles are either Ford or Chevy because they have contracts with Ford or Chevy for the trucks. Whenever you see a government vehicle, 99.9% of the time it's a Ford. Now they're buying Jeeps. They're buying these fancy decked out vehicles, and I'm like, what?
Do you think that where you're at, because they're renting out the land and it seems like they're privatizing, they're doing a lot of like backdoor private deals? I think that's where they're getting the money.
I really don't think that they're defunding at all. I will be straight up honest with you. I think that they're shifting the funding into more surveillance.
Okay,
and
I
also
could see
more
that.
income.
But
I
don't see that over here though. Like the parks over here, like a lot of older vehicles, like it's not that nice. Like they're not like upgrading a lot of stuff.
Maybe it's just for here.
I think it's I think it depends from state to state, because even though they're like national parks, I think it depends from state to state. And with what you were telling me though, they're renting out that land to some of those ranchers and stuff. It seems to me like a lot of people in that community don't want the van lifers and don't want people using that land, because I think they're trying to do backdoor deals or private deals with them, and that's how they're making all that money. Because I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm saying something fishy's going on over near you, dude. Because here they're not coming up like that. Like they don't got the money like that.
No, they're definitely fishy stuff. Okay, so the Forest Service with the fires, most of those I know people who work seasonal as fire workers. They have signed an NTA, so obviously I'm not going to say any names. They start half the fires. Yes, they do this because it burns down the scrub and the other limbs, like the smaller branches on these big.
Oh, it's like a controlled burn, but not.
It's not though, because it never fails. They get out of hand, and they know this is going to happen, so they don't care because it's so deep, Kyla. They're tied into the insurance companies, everything. It's all connected. So the insurance
is crazy.
I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory.
No, but I mean, it doesn't add up.
It burns down the brush, and most of these trees out here have this bark that is fireproof. It prevents the actual trunk of the tree from being burned, and that's the quality lumber right there. So by burning off all the foliage and the branches, it makes them easy to come in there and clear cut everything and then just load it up.
Yeah.
And after, a lot of people in California especially have noticed this, they own land, and they'll notice after a forest fire, after their entire land has been decimated, these people are coming in through their back gates and leaving messages saying, we're coming through, making sure there's no hazard trees. And then they clear cut these people's private property against.
Are they really that desperate? They're that desperate for lumber?
Literally impossible. That's how bad it is. And with our Oompa Loompa trying to change, not getting the lumber from Canada now, even bigger issue. Okay, we're going to see a lot more fires. I know you guys are going to hate me for this, but they're set. I'm sorry. They're set.
Yeah.
Wait, we're getting off topic. I'm sorry.
Well, you were talking about the surveillance and cameras, so that's how we got off of that tangent. If you were talking about plates or license plates or something.
Yeah, in Flagstaff now they have scanning. They're scanning in the National Forest. They're scanning plate numbers. So if you can park with your plate not being exposed or cover it, I would highly suggest doing that from here on out.
I have a really good idea. I don't know how legal it is, but
they're scanning you to make sure that you're only within that forest for the 2-week period within so many days.
Yeah.
So cover your plates, do it. they have a whole database that will bring it up immediately. It's like they have AI too, so they know they can just like, oh, this person's overstayed their welcome.
You can
It's
get,
bad.
I don't know if it would work for that if they're like taking photos, but if it's just like a camera that's scanning it, you can get these stickers now that you can put on a few of your letters of your plate. I don't know how legal it is, but you put the sticker on, and then when like the if you're like going through a turnpike or something, like when they take a photo of your plate, it blurs out those numbers.
Yeah.
So like I have a few friends that do it. I haven't done it to
I don't know how
mine.
legal it is. I don't know.
I think you can get you can get in trouble, but you can't tell that they're on there. Like the cop would have to like scratch his finger like on your plate to see it.
Oh, it's like the reflective material.
Yeah, like you can't tell it's on there. It's like this sticker that like you order the stickers, not I wouldn't do every letter or number, like I would just do a few. So like I'll like put a photo up or something later. But basically this, you get whatever number or letter you want and like put it on there, and it just goes around it. And so like if you're going through anything that's like taking a photo or scanning your plate,
the lens picks up too much stuff.
Yeah, it'll blur out certain numbers or letters, so it can't read your entire plate. I know a bunch of people that have that now. I don't know how legal it is, and like it's getting really popular, so I'm sure they're gonna crack down. But people do it.
Yeah. I guess the one thing I want to say is like how we both adapt and stay resilient. And we do our due diligence, we do our research, we stay very aware, and we're very proactive. I think we constantly talk about what's going on. We are in communication with other people about what's happening. And you know, there's a community and we have to be a part of it. The one thing I wanted to come back to was, oh, now I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, there is an alternative for camping in the city. And there are two apps. We'll link them below if you guys feel like sponsoring us, guys. It's called Spacer, and oh, now I can't remember. Park Here. Is it Park Here? I can't. This is gonna drive me nuts. I had it written down. But it's on my phone. There are apps that you can now find within the city limits of people who have driveway space, who have off-street parking, who have acreage just a few towns outside of a big city, and you can negotiate with them. Sometimes they have a fee already set up. They'll let you know if it's dog friendly. It's a way for them to let van lifers survive, and they make a little bit of money off. So in the city that I'm at, I've gone through and made some Facebook posts in the groups of the local area. And what I did was ask them, this is my situation. I'm only here for a couple weeks. I need a place to park. What I need is service, good sun, and just a quiet place. That's it. I don't need water. I don't need electricity. I need a place to walk my dog, maybe play ball. That would be ideal, but I'm willing to pay this much or between this estimate. And the response I got from one of these groups, outstanding. I got people offering an hour away to let me stay there for free and just watch their land because no one's there. I ended up not doing that because I need to stay in town for a bunch of reasons and I needed to get some work done on my van. The other people are like, there's a roommate situation. There's another set of people that like they have their aunt living on their property in a tiny house. Their college age adult kids are home for the summer. Like it's a community, but they have extra land. They've got 4 acres and it's treed and it's the meadow. You can park anywhere you want. So you'd be surprised that there are really still good people out there that will offer a place for you to stay. I know it costs money, but like some of these places I've already talked to them and we've decided on a price. The whole thing that matters right now is I have to drive out there to check the service because that's the most important thing to me. But the price that I'll be paying for 2 weeks is like anywhere from $120 to $150.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one night at like a crappy motel.
Yeah, and it's not that bad because you're going to be in the city. You're not using as much gas going in and out.
Yeah.
All the amenities are right there.
Well, and you're paying for peace of mind. Like sometimes you
the cops cannot play with you. Yeah. They cannot mess with you. Even if they know your van and they see it parked in a driveway, they're not going to come into somebody's driveway on it. They can't. They absolutely cannot do that without, so no. I just feel a lot safer doing something like that. And for me, it's worth the money. So if you have the extra money, do that. But it's Spacer is one of them. There's a couple. I'll tell you guys the links in the caption. I'm sorry, I didn't write them out. I only just learned about this literally this past week, and also about the option of posting in Facebook groups. And you know what came up with that idea? ChatGPT.
What will soon be our overlord. I just wanted to say, like, stealth camping can be really stressful. It's totally normal if you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, if you feel like dehumanized. Like, we've all felt that way. Me and Bunny have had multiple instances. Like, we've definitely been treated unfairly. We've definitely been treated like second-class citizens. Like, we totally get it. That's a normal feeling. You definitely have to find your, like, inner confidence, and you have to, like, know your rights. Make sure that everything you're doing on your end is legal and down to the T, so that if you ever do get the knock, there's really, that there's nothing you're doing wrong. Like, when I talk to law enforcement, I know that all of my ducks are in a row, my vehicle's insured. I've never even had a speeding ticket. So, like, I am super confident when I talk to them, like, hey, what am I doing wrong? How can I help you? How do you want to mediate this situation? Also, like Bunny said, there is still a community. I know that we get annoyed when people just come up to our vans and do stupid stuff. But when it comes to talking to other van lifers, especially when they're new to the area, I don't mind helping them out, giving them some advice, because A, it's not completely selfless. I want those people to kind of know the lay of the land here so that they know how to behave and what's what.
So they don't ruin it for us.
Yeah. And, like, it's not that I'm telling them what to do, but, like, I've had people, we stay in this one singular area. So I see a lot of people come through here, and they've said, hey, like, is it cool to park here? Where can I go? Have you parked here? And, like, I'll give them my honest opinion. So they're, typically you can always, through word of mouth, find some cool spots. iOverlander's also typically good, because that's more like community based. Your Friends app is really good for that as well. We'll have all of that linked down below. So you're not alone. I know that it's scary. Our podcast is literally called The Knock. So that's how influential it is on our experience with van life.
Yep. Yeah, we've all, especially, like, Kyla's gotten it because she's primarily urban van lifer, and I've been doing it for 12 years. So I've had mega experience getting the knock, and she's absolutely right. By staying calm, knowing the laws, and being legal in every way possible, and put on the fakest smile you can with those cops, man. You will usually just get off with a warning or a little bit of banter. Obviously there's going to be some cops that like to fling their ding-a-ling around and beat their chest, and they're bullies, and I would like to apologize on behalf of them right now, because they're embarrassing. Y'all cops are embarrassing when you act like that. Knock it off. Ew. But beyond that, it's going to happen. Just stay calm. I shake. My voice changes when I deal with cops. I have PTSD from them. Like, I end up crying afterwards. It's horrible. But I know that I have to compose myself in that moment. Do not swear. Do not get sassy. If it comes out naturally, it happens, but you can even say, listen, I'm a little nervous right now. You're a man and you're approaching my van. So I'm feeling unsafe right now. Can we please just take this down a minute? Can I take a moment to breathe? Because whatever you need to do to, like, play the game, but remain calm, know the laws, and be prepared by being legal. And even then, you're going to get the knock.
Even then. I'll leave you guys with one last story that was a positive experience as far as the knock. I was in a public park during the daytime, public park, not doing anything wrong. My van doors were actually closed. Me and Gunnar weren't even outside. And it was in a nicer area closer to the city. So, people had money there. I was backed into a spot. I was actually making a video trying on chacos that I had gotten for a hiking trip that was coming up. So Gunnar was laying down. I was trying on my chacos, and a cop pulls up, and I was like, that's weird. He knocks on my door, and I'm like, yep. And he's like, it's the police, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. And I didn't open the door because he didn't tell me to. And he's like, well, we got a call about like a suspicious vehicle, and I was like, okay. And he's like, can you just open the door? And I was like, yeah, give me a second. So I opened the door, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, we got a call about like a suspicious van. And I was like, my van? And he's like, yeah, I know. Like, I saw when I drove by that you had like stickers on the back, like they're like national park stickers. I was like, yeah, I'm just hanging out, trying on my Chacos, and like I literally had them on my feet. And he's like, yeah, sorry, like we just had to check on it. And he was like super chill. And I literally like looked out my van. I was like, yeah, it doesn't look like a Chomo van to me. And he like laughed. And I was just like being super normal and like kind of was like, this is ridiculous. And he was like, yeah, it is ridiculous. And I was like, all right, well, like, is there anything else I can help you with? And he's like, oh, so like, are you just like traveling through, or like, are you camping here? And like, he was like trying to be chill, like never tell people more than you have to. And I was like, nah, man. I was like, me and my husband live here full time. I didn't say we live in the van. I said we live here full time, which is true. And he's like, oh, where's your husband work? And like, I didn't mind telling him where my husband works, because where my husband works is a place that like people.
I know cops too well, and
Well,
that's none of their business.
people-
I don't care
well,
if they're
I-
bantering. I'm like,
the
well,
reason-
that's private information with a
Well,
smile.
the reason why I said where my husband works is because what's really weird is every time I've ever dealt with law enforcement in van life, when we say where me and my husband work and we have jobs, they're like, oh. And they
Yeah.
treat you completely different. Like, I'm not traveling through here. You're not pushing me out. I pay my taxes. So I said where my husband works, which is a like respected place, and a lot of the guys that work there are born and raised here, and they know the cops. Andrew literally sold a car to one of like the head law enforcement people here
Yeah.
recently, and I'm like, what? So as soon as I said that, he's like, oh, and I was like, yep. And he's like, oh, okay. And then like we just start talking about hiking. And we were just talking about hiking. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm like, yep. And he's like, all right, well, have a good day. So, like, it just ended like...
That is a great tactic, though, to divert the conversation. Like, if you start asking them what they know about the area, like, oh, have you ever been to this place? I was checking it out on Google Maps. They love to give information once, like, it makes them feel like superior. So any way that you can make them feel that way is a great tactic.
Yeah, I mean, I just was normal, and I acted like I'm allowed to be here because I am. And also, I do have to like play our situation, and everyone's situation is different. But like, I knew that I had like an ace because my husband has a job here that's like well respected, and like, what do you want me to do? But also, I never admitted that I lived in my vehicle.
Yeah.
And I was literally trying on hiking gear. So like, I think that he seemed more annoyed that like someone had just called the cops. And I was like, yeah. I even said, I was like, yeah, maybe people are mad that I'm just like taking up a parking spot or something. He's like, no, you're fine. And so like, that was an example of it going well. But like, when he left, did it piss me off that somebody called the cops on me? Of course it did. But you also can't straight out the gate take it out on the cops, because at the end of the day, they're just like they're just like the foot soldiers for whoever's affluent in the community. And like,
but listen to your guts. Listen to your guts. If it feels like you need to record this situation, they are always recording you.
No. I always no. I always record. I have that whole I always record.
Like, if the audience doesn't know, like, listen, get your phones out, make sure they're always charged up, because you never know. I am so glad I was able to record the interaction I had the other day.
Yeah, I always
recorded 4 in the last week and a half, 2 weeks of these horrible interactions where I was targeted.
You should make a compilation.
Oh, girl, I'm on it. I'm on it. Don't even. Have you seen my latest YouTube? Girl, I'm on it.
It's getting intense.
It is. And it's not just me. It's a lot of people are speaking out about it in the comments, and I don't think it's talked about enough. So I'm really glad that I'm the whistleblower on it, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people talking about it. Like, no one's really like putting it together in a strategized way of like information that's organized so that we can talk about it. And people want to talk about it like they're mad and angry, but when you calm down and really organize your thoughts, like, you can make that message so much clearer.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on right now because, girl, I was crying.
I know. Well, it's like very dehumanizing and it's not fair. And you and I hate when we don't feel like we have our own anonymity and our own control. And that
Right.
really makes us angry. Like, it's like angry tears almost because, like, you're so
Oh,
mad, but you can't do anything. So you start
feel
crying.
helpless.
But I do feel like Bunny makes a great point. Like, organizing and all of us coming together on this front is only going to help our case. And we might not all of us have a lot of money to have push or power in these communities, but all of us organizing and coming together and having these online resources in a network is where we can have our power and just being like very clear-headed and logical about all of this.
And in that community, every one of you matters. Every one of you. Like, numbers is important and behavior is important. So don't think that you don't matter, that you throwing that trash doesn't count. No, everything you do matters in this community. So keep that in mind. You're part of it.
All right, I got to wrap this up.
Okay, so always stay alert. Lock your doors.
Lock your doors. Always stay alert. Always record the cops.
Always record the cops.
And listen for the knock.
Always listen for the knock.